Right guys, what are we up to today? Well, clearly DayZ. Now I've been chatting with a fellow DayZ YouTuber, tacticaladvance, and he was concerned about sharpness of the grass, or blurry grass. We've been talking, we're doing similar things on the net, so what I wanted to do is, I've been having a little look at settings and see how they change things. Now, the thing that seems to strike me is this little one. If you do the FXAA, and let's stick on. Now, while I'm going to click this button, this will work so much better for you in full screen watching this in 1080p, but look at the grass when I click this button now. That went a little blurry. Hopefully the YouTube video, they do funny things with the codecs, won't, hopefully it will show itself up. But that just went blurry. So if I turn that off, they clear up a little bit, so it's a little less blurry. Now, if you do sharp filter, now that looks crystal clear. Can't see what it's doing to my frame rate, but FXAA, which I'll be honest with you, I've not really messed with, because I was under the impression that this was sort of something that NVIDIA cards did better than ATI, and I'm running ATI. The SMAA is what I would normally run, and that looks blurry. Doesn't that look blurry? If I turn that on high, turn it on to very high, can't see much of a difference, but the grass looks blurry. So on high, sorry, that's very high, and then to disabled, not much of a difference. But if I turn FXAA high, that grass goes blurry. That is definitely blurry grass. And if I turn it on to sharp, that is crystal clear grass. Those are like individual blades of grass. Let's hang on, let's have a little look. Oh, go away. Get my butt down. Look at this grass. Options, video options, disable. Yeah, slightly fuzzy grass with it. That's better. Do you know what? The edges are better. So do you know what? I think I'm going to be running the FXAA on sharp, because it improves the grass. Now I suppose we should really have a look at what it does to trees, or more to the point, what it does to bushes, because bushes are the real killer. Still getting the spanglies. If anyone else can solve my particular problem, looking at trees, they look fine at the moment, but sometimes when you look at trees, they're covered in little white dots. Really annoys me. Love to know how to get rid of that. In fact, yes, there are the spanglies. I don't know if you, again, you would need to see this in 1080p, full screen, but can you see the little white spangly dots? This is a problem I get, wish I didn't get it. So anyway, back to the, I see they've gone now. Bushes. Bushes are a nightmare. Bushes are a killer. These will seriously chug your frame rate, because there's so much detail in the bush. The way they've chosen to create a bush in the game is absolute nightmare, especially if you have your video options, if you have your shadow to very high, because this will kill your computer's frame rate, because it doesn't just try to figure out the shading on the floor, it tries to figure out the shading through the bush. So is this leaf in shade or is it in light, and that will be dependent on, is it shaded between there and there. Oh, it's monstrously tricky for your computer to do this. And also when the shadow falls, is it being cast on this blade of grass or that blade of grass? How far up that blade of grass is this? Yeah, how complicated this is? You don't see this in normal FPS games. They don't. They cheat. They use sprites. They use a predefined shadow. The other thing, of course, in most games, hang on, that's the wrong thing to be looking at. In most games, quite simply, the sun doesn't move. So you can figure out your shadows. A guy sat at a computer desk can work out where the shadow's going to be because the light source doesn't move, primarily the sun. So this is pretty good for shadows. But I think we've definitely sorted out the blurry grass business. But if somebody else can help me out with these spangly trees, spangle, can you see the white dots? It's like someone's chucked glitter all over it. I do find that annoying. Get close, disappears, comes back. Yeah, bushes. Bushes, absolute rendering and lighting nightmare. But yeah, hopefully this is quite useful. I was going to do a gameplay going up to the airfield to see if I can pick up some ammunition. Don't like the way those telegraph poles are being, the power lines are being drawn. They are very, very, very bitty. Let's see if we can get a little closer. See what we can do to sharpen those up, because they're horrid. It's no good if the close by stuff is really, really excellent if it means something at a distance is no longer excellent. Hang on, let's go around here and have a little look at these power lines. Let's see what we can do to clear up these power lines, because those power lines look horrid. That's nasty. Okay, options. Video options. Now this is how I would normally do it. By knocking up the 3D resolution. Basically, I have loads of graphics power on my computer. My computer. It's not a major issue for me. It just means the fans on the graphics cards whir up a little bit. But they've got better. But that's still not what I would say is good. So let's try it a different way. Video options. Let's whack that back down to 100. Catchy up. And anti-aliasing to very high. Don't like what it's done to the grass. Grass looks fuzzy now, and those telegraph poles are still choppy. Don't like that. Options, video options, anti-aliasing. As I say, I normally run it off. And let's go back to how I used to have it, which is that. Slightly better. Still looks like a row of dots though, doesn't it, eh? Those power lines, rows of dots. Options, video options, 125%. Still looks like a row of dots. I don't know if you're going to be able to get rid of that. The power lines being seen as a row of dots. And I've noticed that my grass has become a little less distinct. Of course, all of this fine tuning means bugger all. You know, you still got to shoot a zombie in the head. It has nothing to do with gameplay. But yeah, graphic fidelity. We always like it. Have a little look at those trees. Yeah, I'm looking what I'm doing as I'm running along, and I'm not telling you what I'm looking at. I am looking at that bundle of power lines over there. It really is a mess, isn't it? These power lines are becoming better. But the other thing is I've noticed is my frame rate is struggling. It doesn't feel sluggish. You know, there's no input lag. But quick check no zombies. So yeah, oh, zombie down there. My grass, what's the grass look like? Again, where had I left it? Yes, I'd gone to that one. If we go to normal, sharp filter, that's running at what, 125%. So on high, anti-aliasing disabled, ATOC disabled. Those power lines don't look too bad now. So yeah, this sharp thing does look pretty good. And I suppose I could have a little look at... Oh, it's going to start in 5 minutes. Solves the problem. If I put it on normal, catch up with me. And then I go... Oh. Ooh, God, look at those spanglies! Aha! I think we figured out what's causing the spanglies. Yeah, look at that spanglies all over the screen. Disabled. Bang, and it's gone. So I think I'm going to have to little look. Before Bohemian Interactive added this, hang on, ATOC and the FXAA, you could still alter these things, but you had to do it by going into a text file. And one of the things we used to do before these were added was to go into the text file and make sure that ATOC was disabled. And I may still have to do that. I'm definitely going to have a go playing with this FXAA on, because it looks pretty good. I like this. This is... I still think the shadows are impressive in this game. Because yes, I do like the effect. But anyway, hopefully this was of some help as I sort of discover what makes improvements to my system. Now here's the thing about systems: a massive difference between whether or not you're running AMD or ATI. That will make a chunk of difference. The speed of your RAM will make a difference. The speed of your hard drive. I mean, I'm running on an SSD. The processor's the real kicker. So yeah, it is tricky. It's a case of playing with these things. You see those spanglies? The spanglies are back. I'm definitely going to have to go and edit that file to see what it says about ATOC, because I think it is the ATOC that's causing the spangles in the trees, which I dislike intensely. So I'm just running back down into my normal despawn point, yeah, we'll have a little look about this, and I will talk to you gentlemen later.